What's going on, everyone? Welcome back, and in today's video we're going to be talking about banning slash unbanning a card. So I want to get into this before we start talking about these cards, that there is nothing official, there is no conversation or anything from Wizards about anything with these two cards. This is just my opinion on some of the things with these two cards, just to kind of generate some conversation, some things that have been brought up in the community, and a bunch of other things. So I thought it'd be really fun. And then the other thing is that I really want you guys to destroy the comment section on this video. I want you guys to go down there and let me know what you think about these two cards specifically on either way. If you think that the one card should be unbanned, stay banned, and then if the other card should become banned or stay unbanned. So I'd be really interested in what you guys say. And like I said, I really want to see how you guys feel about it, because I'm going to be giving you guys back and forth on this video. I'm going to tell you guys some positives to doing some of the things, and then some of the negatives to doing some of the things as well. So I'm also in my car so we can get some fresh air. Really nice. So I've been doing a lot of stuff indoors, obviously, so trying to get outdoors and just relax it up a little bit. So today we're going to be talking about Press the Advantage. Now, Press the Advantage currently is banned. It is banned for, I would say, probably 3 reasons that are probably the primary reasons as to why it is banned. First off, if you don't know about that card, it is a Wave 2 battle card. It is an orange and a green battle icon card. Now, the green battle icon is one of the reasons why it is banned, is because it is a very consistent card. So when it came to playing with that green battle icon card, it was really easy to get it probably, 2 to 3 times within a game, and the card itself is very powerful, and it being very consistent on top of that made it really good. The next part about the card is that it does say choose one of your Autobots, and then it does get +2 attack until the end of turn. Now, this card, or this part of the card, was strong, don't get me wrong. We definitely played it for the +2. However, which I guess talking here in just a second about it, it wasn't the reason why the card was so powerful. The next part on the card says choose a Decepticon. It gets -2 defense until end of turn, and that defense can't go below 0, which is where, boom, here comes all the power in this card. Excuse me. So it would also last till end of turn. So if that Decepticon was getting attacked twice, it would lose 2 defense each battle. Now, if you happen to have 1 defense and you're like, ha, I'm good, and you flip a blue battle icon, nope, it did not work that way. So if you had 0 defense and flipped 2 battle icon, blue battle icons on defense, you're still at 0. If you were at 1 and flipped a blue, you were still at 0. And then if you were at 2 and didn't flip blues, guess what? Still 0. So it was really, really strong when an Autobot was attacking into a Decepticon. It would essentially give you +4, and it was attached to both an orange and a green, so you're able to constantly get it. And then even when you're attacking, you're flipping an orange. So it was really, really powerful. This is why we don't do stuff outside. Yeah, wow. So, all right, there we go. We're good. I was going to turn stuff up. We're good. But that's why the card became so powerful. Now, the side effect of this card was that it kind of ruined Decepticons for a lot of people. Now, I'm one of those people that learned how to play against it. I didn't love how I had to play against it, don't get me wrong, but that's one thing about the meta that it kind of goes the way it is that you get situated into a type of deck that you like, and then the developers throw out new cards, and then now you have to establish new gameplay. You have to change your deck to be able to accommodate what is really good. So it was a thing that I just learned to play with infiltrates, and I learned to play, maybe only 1 Decepticon on the list, maybe 2 Decepticons on the list, and to kind of try to play around this card, some hand disruption, whatever the case could be, to try to get rid of it. Now, this is where a big part of the conversation comes into play, because Decepticons stopped getting as much play because of how oppressive this card was, and it restricted your deck building. You were like, well, I can't play with this one Decepticon that I really want to play with because one Press the Advantage just completely ruins me, and that was very real for a lot of characters. So they ended up banning the card. They said it wasn't healthy for the game. I agreed with all of it at the time that it went down. However, we now live in a new world where there are lots of cards that completely destroy Autobots, and Decepticons are kind of running king. We have a lot of cards, Mag Ray, which does 1 damage to each character, and then 1 damage to each additional Autobot. You got Skull Smasher, Energon Axe, which give you a lot of pierce towards Autobot leaders, and more stuff towards Autobots. And then you have Sky Shadow, who, when he combines, just deals 3 damage to an Autobot. And there's still a few other cards out there that are very oppressive for Autobots. So we're starting to see this swing where now Autobots are getting far less play. You have to really decide if the character that you're playing is in there for a reason, even if it is an Autobot. It's okay, this character is going to get easily crushed Can I afford to still use the character, its abilities, all this other stuff? And again, we're living on the opposite end of the spectrum where now Autobots are getting a lot less play. So the conversation becomes one of two things, right? Does Press the Advantage stay banned and we let Decepticons have their time in the light? A lot of people are like, Autobots have been playing and been on top for quite a long time. I'd kind of argue that there's been a lot of really good Decepticon teams that have done very well for themselves. I would say that the majority of tournaments, yes, Autobots were winning the majority of those, unless it was Major Shockwave, who did end up taking a few tournaments. And then we have a lot of really good ones now. Like, if we were to honestly have a tournament go down right now, I don't think that there isn't a way that Sky Shadow wins the tournament, purely just based on how many people are playing the character and how just strong the character was out of the gate. Very easy to get into that character. If you are a newer player and you like playing aggressive decks, it is a really easy deck to get into and to dominate with and put up really good win rates. So, like I said, we either let Decepticons have their time in the light, it makes sense, Autobots had their time, we kind of let it go, or we consider bringing this card back and seeing if that really kind of balances the scales a little bit. I know that we talked about it here. We're going to be playtesting it in the Colorado group, and again, there's nothing official about this card in any way, shape, or form, so we're just going to play it purely for fun and to see if this card is still as powerful as it was before, or if maybe it's pretty balanced, and then now Autobots have a reason to play because you get access to this card once or twice within a game. It will be really, really interesting, obviously, once we get some results, and if there is a really good balance back and forth, obviously I'll do a video about that. I'll show you guys, we'll do some gameplay with it, and you guys can kind of see how it does get to interact, because the card was really easy to play and do very well with. You know, you play a grenade launcher, press the advantage and attack into a Decepticon. I mean, you're just getting +8 off the top, which is kind of insane. So the other thing about the card, press the advantage, was that when Decepticons started getting less play, so did press the advantage. For an orange and a green battle icon to just give you +2 attack until end of turn wasn't really that good. There are a lot of other options that can give you something similar or even better when it comes to that situation now. So it ended up going down to about a 1 of in a deck, and then maybe you had 1 or 2 sideboarded. For the most part, I always saw it as like a 2 of in a lot of lists during like the Gen Con time and stuff like that last year. And again, it became really good when going up against a Decepticon, but against not Decepticons, it was a decent card. So that would be the kind of thing that would also make me kind of want to bring it back, is because if it did end up doing really well, then we get to this point where it's like, do I play this Autobot? Is he relevant enough? Do I play this Decepticon? Is he relevant enough? Which is really, really interesting stuff. So the other part is that it still has a green battle icon. This makes the card really good because it is very consistent. You don't have to care about it being in your opening can. You don't have to care about trying to find a way to get it. You will eventually get it, and it will eventually make a difference in the game. So that's where, again, I'm kind of on the I don't want to see it come back, because there's nothing scarier playing with a Decepticon and your opponent flips that card on defense and you go, dang, my opponent's going to be able to pick this up on defense, and it's going to go to his turn, and then he's going to completely wreck my character, and there's nothing I can do about it. It kind of is what it is. You know, you had to, like I said, learn how to play against it. Like, you had to play Major Shockwave, you had to play Infiltrates, you had to try to go for some hand disruption, you had to try to find a way to survive the card. Or it was just, I gotta hope I have enough blue battle icons or armor, or I have to try to have an Autobot that they're attacking into for this turn and make them hold on to it for another turn. A couple of different things. So if all of these scenarios were in play, what's the question? Do we bring it back and we see how it does, and we just try to play around it like we did before, and now that we have better Decepticons to kind of battle it? And another reason is, like, people want to play with Decepticons more right now because of how good they are. So would it still even be an issue if you're playing a Decepticon deck and you're going against another Decepticon deck? Does press become good enough on not an Autobot? You can still get the -2 on the opposing defense, and it's still an orange and a green battle icon. That's kind of solid. Now, I will say one thing that would be really nice with is like Airstrike Patrol. They would absolutely love that card. Now it becomes a triple orange battle icon, and then if it's going up against a Decepticon, boom, you're getting plus defense there. So it could still just be very beneficial for Decepticons, not just Autobots. So I guess that would be the other part of the conversation, is it might not kill Decepticons. It might give them one more tool to be very good. And then again, it might be one more tool to allow Autobots to get a little more push into game, and then not really have to be so worried about the return side because they know that they have that punch in their back pocket. So I guess the other thing about all of this is based on high-level gameplay that's going on. In casual, you can play with the card if you want. Obviously, if you're playing with the card or any banned cards, make sure your opponents know about it, make sure they're cool with it, all that good jazz. But it is for, like I said, that really high competitive gameplay. You're not really going to run into a lot of situations. You're also not going to find that many people playing it. Like even before, we didn't play Press the Advantage in a lot of our stuff because of how good it was as a card. It was just, well, this is obvious thing, let's not play with it, and it just was what it was, you know. Whereas now I'd be interested in bringing it back and trying it out and seeing what it does and giving that extra push against Sky Shadow or Horrible or some of these other Decepticons that are really doing very, very well. And then it would just be like before, we learned to play around the card. Now, the reason why I bring up playing around the card so much is because the next card we're going to talk about is a card that we are currently playing around, and the real question is, should we continue to play around it or should it be banned? If Press the Advantage is a card that it's not worth trying to learn how to play around because of how brutal the card is, the next one is going to immediately be eligible for the ban list. But like I said, let me know how you guys feel about Press the Advantage. I'd be very, very interested to see what you guys think about the card. I think that ultimately it's going to be worth a test. I don't think there'll be any way right now I can tell you I think it's unban worthy or it's still ban worthy. It's going to come down to testing for sure. Honestly, the thing that's going to make or break either way is that green battle icon, 100%. The fact that it's Autobot versus Decepticon, those are 50-50s, obviously. Whether you can get it on a turn it's relevant is 50-50. It's all going to be about that green battle icon. If I can consistently get it, and I'm consistently going up against Decepticons, then the card is still too strong. However, if I can consistently get it, and I'm going up against Autobots, is me playing an action for +2 that attack worth it over playing other cards or other actions in the game? So that'll be really interesting to see kind of what happens. Battlefield Legends, obviously another one of those characters that really gets to abuse a lot of this stuff because he gets access to free things. So he'll definitely have to be involved in the testing process. I know that my super cars, or I guess my anticipation cars list, will definitely have to be an option as well. Again, it's because until end of turn, if I can happen to get 4 or 5 attacks of the Bumblebee into a Decepticon and it's getting -8 defense over the course of my swings because Press the Advantage is on the stack, that's absolutely insane. So again, it's just really going to come down to a lot of these scenarios, testing it out, seeing how well it does. But like I said, for all of you guys who have played with or against the card, let me know what you guys think down below. Do you think it's got the chance to come back? Or do you think that it is definitely in the past and we need to kind of leave it in the past? So I'd be interested. The next card we're going to talk about, Peace Through Tyranny. This is a very interesting one. If I were to pick today, unlike Press the Advantage where I couldn't give you an answer, if I had to pick today on Peace Through Tyranny, ban or unbanned, or ban or leave ban or leave not banned, I think, yeah, whatever. I'd say ban the card, 100%. And I love playing with the card. I really do. First off, Peace Through Tyranny has been around since Wave 1, and it has caused problems since Wave 1. Double orange battle icon means you obviously get 2 more when it comes to attacking. It is one of the, I guess, that, improvised shield, security checkpoint, and handheld blaster are the only double battle icons that don't have a star attached to it, because at the time it wasn't probably a thought, a thing, a testing thing, whatever. The cards did what they did in the beginning of the game, so they did not have a star. There's not a way either in this game to nerf cards or buff cards because obviously it is a printed card game. If it was digital, believe me, Press the Advantage would still exist and we would have a way different system with a lot of these cards because they can just go in there and change what the card text is or what it does, and then boom, it's just completely changed. However, again, we're printed, so obviously once people get their hands on it, they pay for it, it's really hard to go, okay, don't play with that card anymore and we're going to reprint it differently, and then you have to go out and buy it again. It gets really awkward. So, but Peace Through Tyranny, originally had a rule change behind it because it said, I guess, KO a character that has 6 or more stars, you may take an extra turn after this one. So there was a way to take in infinite turns. So originally Wizards had to go in and say, okay, we can no longer do that. You're only allowed 1 additional turn, and after that, no matter what, you lose. And it goes, well, so you don't lose. It goes to your opponent's turn. You can't continuously take infinite turns anymore. So it already had that part of it, kind of a rule change behind it. But again, the card does say KO a character you control that has 6 or more stars, take an extra turn. Now, this card is extremely powerful. Taking the extra turn right now is so strong. There are so many decks that take really big advantage of this to be able to have an easy KO target, and you're benefited with an extra turn. There's no longer the loss of, oh man, no longer is it, oh, I'm going to lose this character, but I get an extra turn, so hopefully I can finish the game out, and if not, I'm probably going to lose. It had that high risk, high reward. Now it is low risk, very high reward, which is where I think the card is so powerful. Again, we're getting the extra attacks, and then in Sky Shadow lists, which is the majority of the problems that you're going to see with the card, is that it allows your opponent to create Sky Shadow on their turn and get an additional turn with the character. So that is what makes things very, very powerful, and right now it literally can make or break those games. Sky Shadow mirrors were already kind of weird before, but it really comes down to, do you get the piece through tyranny? Okay, cool, you won the game. Like, it doesn't change a lot of the things about it because the math is so specific, or so easy to, I guess, to hit, because of how orange and black just runs right now with a lot of the characters. Even the side team characters, such as if you're running Perceptor or Horrible or Windsweeper, you're getting a lot of those advantages just right off the bat with that. Not to mention, if you are running something like a Titan Master, it becomes even better because now you get to KO a tapped character, your body mode character, so that character couldn't attack anyway. You're losing the character, most likely didn't have much health left. Boom, you're getting a Titan Master. You get 2 swings, and then you can go and take an extra turn after that. Or again, you're on the Sky Shadow play, where you unfortunately have your 2 characters tapped, you have your 3rd bot ready to go, and you're like, oh, I don't want to swing with this bot yet, I want him to do this. Okay, well, I'll just piece through tyranny, and then, create my big guy, swing with my big guy. Oh, okay, well, now I'll take my extra turn. Oh, now I get to swing with this character. It can do some insane things, and we're starting to see it get played in a more wide range of decks, just for that second part of the ability as well. Before, it was just, I'm playing it because it's a double orange battle icon card. You rarely ever went for the extra turn. Now it's like, this card is just insanely good, I'm always going to play it. And pretty much every orange deck you're going to come across is going to have 3 copies of it in every single way, shape, and form. And it's no longer just because it's double orange battle icon card, which before I was okay with. Okay, cool, you have a double orange in your deck, Improvise Shield, it's another useless card. It's a double orange though, so it's like it didn't really affect me as far as the card goes itself. It came with double orange battle icons with no stars, so to have a blah or no effect was totally fine. I didn't have an issue with it. The card would come by every once in a while. It was an easy card to chuck to greens, great. But now the fact that I have to play around with this card, and I lose if I go for it, and I lose if I don't go for it, which is what makes things really, really awkward. I'm going into this character, I'm about to attack another character, it's whatever, it's more than 6 stars, and I go, okay, if I KO this character, I create Sky Shadow. If I leave the character, he piece through tyrannies, creates Sky Shadow, and gets an extra turn. I don't want to do either. I really don't. It's really nice to leave a lot of those characters down at like 8, 9 damage on the character, so you can just get a couple of points here and there, and you can try to create Sky Shadow and then go into the character himself, and you can have a little bit of an advantage by playing your cards. Right now, Sky Shadow is so good because of how easy he is to create, play, build, all this really good jazz. It makes it very difficult. Now, not even to mention just Sky Shadow, because I know it's a really easy target for that card, is to be able to go into those characters, but it's really good in just pretty much any orange deck. I was kind of talking about it a second ago. It's really good in my Cars deck. Oh, okay, cool. Well, I don't really have much of a good setup this turn. Well, let me do it. I'll just get rid of this other character that's tapped, and now I'll get my extra setup, and I get 5 attacks with characters that you can't do anything about. It's ridiculously insane. Really good with Springer to be able to take those extra turns to set up for big combo turns. There is currently an end of turn, combo Springer deck that essentially plays EMP wave at the end of every turn. Your opponent's locked out pretty much the rest of the game. You just slowly pierce them to death with a Brawn, whatever else. My overwhelming advantage Springer deck still can just go off the way that it did before. It's actually got a little more consistency now with some wave 5 stuff. And taking that extra turn just kind of really takes away from your opponent having a chance to fight against it. So we're on the same page. I have to play Infiltrates in my deck. I have to start playing some of these other hand disruption cards just to try to get rid of that card. And I have to go, okay, I have to play Espionage this turn to try to hit this piece through tyranny. and you go, okay, orange, boom, let me see it, and then they don't have it, and you're like, oh, well, now I just wasted my action for the turn, and then they're like, oh, top deck, piece through tyranny, I win the game. And it's a smaller scenario, without a doubt, but it just is really awkward, the fact that that one card has so much of a threat attached to it. That's not even funny. It is so powerful, and something like 6 stars is a very, very small price to pay for the card. Again, if we could alter cards in this universe, I would change the star cost on Piece Through Tyranny to maybe being 7, maybe 8 stars. So you really have to really pay that high risk, high reward again, let some of those big characters go, and then to be able to kind of do some stuff like that. I know another thing is obviously, like with the body mode characters, you add the star count for their heads, so even then if it's like still 7, you're like, oh, okay, well I can still hit my horrible whatever. But I would definitely try to have a few higher targets for that star cost, even have something like 10 stars or higher would I think totally be acceptable for the card, because now you have to go through you have to get rid of something that is worth it and a more serious point versus it being so easy to trigger, or you attach a star to the card, and then now I'm in a really good position because you have to actually find space in your deck for the card. Perfectly fine. Or you can even change maybe the battle icons on it. The effect is still probably ridiculously good by itself, so the star cost probably wouldn't be able to be a big thing. But I think the overall problem to Sky Shadow is, yes, Piece Through Tyranny is a fantastic card. One shall stand. There's lots of ways of dealing damage to yourself, which allows you to create it, but it's going to be the Sky Shadow Sync, which is the stratagem. It just says as long as one of your characters goes down, boom, you get to create Sky Shadow. Now, I think that this card itself should be changed over to only being able to be combined on your opponent's turn. So I would say at the end of your opponent's turn, if your Sky Shadow plane or tank is gone, then you combine, I think would be a ridiculously good improvement to it, because you are no longer allowed to bring it out on your own turn to super abuse the character. It would have to go down on your opponent's turn, or if at the end of your turn you have, one of those down, then you create them. I think that would be totally fine too. A lot like Dreadwing and some of these other combiners, you have to go through a little bit of a process to get to them. It is very easy to get Sky Shadow out on the table, and he does an insane amount of ridiculously good work. I know that Drew from Wizards did talk about how he wanted combiners to be more competitive, so they were going to constantly be upping the power scale until they found them in a really good spot, and I think that they did a really good job with Sky Shadow. I love the character itself. I really think he is super, super awesome. I love playing with the character. Excuse me. He is just a very good character. Now, again, we talked about playing around stuff. I think it's easy to play around. I don't want to say easy, that's the wrong word. I think that it is possible to play around Piece Through Tyranny, and I think it is also easy to play around Sky Shadow. I think there are lots of decks that really compete against him. It's just because the game is I guess Sky Shadow is so new, and he's been performing so well, everybody's playing him, so you're going to see that big influx in the character just by itself. People are going to have to start taking their time now to build to go up against Sky Shadow, and then you will see Sky Shadow start to fall off a little bit just naturally. I think it's going to sit in the same plane that Galaxy Prime is going to sit in. I think it's a very good deck. I think that you can always rely on it being a good deck, but there are things that do indeed fact take it down. You just have to go through the efforts of building it, play testing it, and all of that really good jazz. Now, I know, again, with Piece Through Tyranny, I think it sits around like $14 or something like that. Maybe it's a little less now of a card. So a lot of people who have a bunch of copies of them are like, don't ban my card. I'd be really mad, because it'd be, like I, for myself, have it in a lot of different decks. So I'd be like, man, it's a lot of money I'd be losing. But you got to think about the health of the game. And that definitely has to be a big part of it. The other thing right now, where obviously none of this stuff will ever come into play or matter, is because there's no competitive games going on. There's online tournaments, there's people playing here, people playing there. However, because there's no big tournament to really show off numbers and a bunch of other stuff, none of these things are really a concern. There's no need for it to be a concern, right? If I was going to a tournament tomorrow, I would be building to fight X, Y, and Z decks, because that's what's just been going around right now, right? However, if it's been 3 tournaments from now and the deciding factor in every single match is Piece Through Tyranny, then Wizards would probably address it and go, hey, we need to figure something out about this card. Wizards does a fantastic job of following trends and figuring out what isn't healthy for the game, and if it was a big issue, they would address the issue. So I have no worries about that whatsoever. Like I said, it's just when you're playtesting, you're going up against a lot of these things. You're going against an orange deck. know what you're going up against, play around these cards, try to build to obviously beat it. If you don't respect Peace or Tyranny as a card, your opponent's going to completely destroy you with it in every way, shape, or form, and that's kind of your fault for not preparing for it. Now, if you go in there and you know your opponent's not playing it, you guys came up with some, off the table thing, you guys are going by kitchen table rules, hey, we're not going to play with this, we're not going to play with this, then you're totally fine. It's nothing for you to worry about. So, like I said, this is just more of an open conversation to see how you guys feel about this. I'm okay also if Peace or Tyranny doesn't get banned, obviously, unless it becomes a huge deal in the metagame where I have to start playing orange just to be able to use this card. I know in my Sky Shadow list that I have that's even all blue, I still run it because it is so good. And that's one thing to show you right there. Like, I'm running a double orange battle icon card in my ridiculously heavy blue deck because its ability is so good, it's worth it. Just to be able to make the character whenever I feel like it is absolutely insane. And then take an extra turn, it's so good. So, like I said, again, let me know down in the comment section below, what do you guys think? How do you feel about it? Let me know. I'm really, really interested. I want to really get some chatter about this card, and I really, really want to see how you guys feel. I hope you guys did enjoy this video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.